Welcome to Security Check. Today on the list we have some reasons why Mirage Gagamon should probably be banned or limited. But before that, remember to like and subscribe, consider becoming a channel member, and go and check out Card Trader. Card Trader is an international card game marketplace. Use our link down in the description and our code SecurityAttack5 to get 5% off your first order and help us out. Help yourself out also.
Also leave comments down below. What do you think about this topic? Because it is pretty, I would have said controversial maybe like 6 months ago.
Yeah, but now.
but now it feels like it's more and more like everyone's up for it. But so there are two major points why Mirage Gagamon should be banned. First is just how unfair and unfun the card is. Bounce is just one of the most powerful ways to remove Digimon, but what really sucks is the all turns that gives you memory and punishes opponent for playing this game, how Bandai has designed this game and has taught us to play the game. In Digimon, you basically add a card via effect if you breathe.
Yeah, Mirage Gagamon is extremely unfair card, and like I'm surprised that it didn't pick up traction in BT11 when it first came out. I played it in Alpha Speedramon as a 2-off because cross matchup was just like horrible, but they draw a card when they do stuff. So every time
it could have been it would have been better to just play Mirage Gagamon with Ulfor stuff or something. Maybe.
Yeah, something like that. But like Mirage is one of the most broken card in the game,
and it was like it was so strange because it was not like it was always a good card, but was blue just so weak at that point that it didn't really, Mirage didn't have enough cards to make it truly like over the top good.
That might be, and like for a second in BT13 and in BT13 we played Mirage as Mirage Gagamon deck as its own archetype, and then it was like kind of fair. You had your own plan and your own deck with your own names in the deck. But nowadays it's it started ASAP. In BT14 they adopted Sudomon Ace and Gomamons.
Yeah, and I think like maybe the one thing that finally like pushed Mirage also, well, of course Sudomon Ace and stuff like that, but when they started getting jamming, that was the that was the final nail in the coffin, because when your Mirage Gagamon basically cannot die to security, you can swing, unsuspend, swing. It becomes absolutely horrible because it's like your opponent doesn't have anything relevant on the board because everything has been bounced. You have billion memory because you take memory from you breathing, your opponent breathing, and then if your opponent even looks at their cards, it's like, oh, I get 4 memory. And it's like, those were absolutely horrible times. And well, of course, I played maybe even more like casual or like tier 2 decks, and facing Mirage as a tier 2 deck was absolutely horrible because
it's a rogue killer.
Yeah, you didn't have any good weapons to fight Mirage, basically, because even if you have a memory blocker on the board, the memory blocker will be bounced to hand and then they gain the memory.
Yeah, like in our nationals there were Leviamon decks to counter Mirage that played 4 of Gasimons, and like 3 or 4 Gasimons on board you stop Mirage from doing stuff, but like that's kinda much.
Yeah, and it's like
to stop one card.
Yeah, and that was more. I think that was even more to fight against the loop decks.
Yeah, Mirage loop
specifically. So it could have been a situation where a normal Mirage deck could have fared better in that metagame, just because it's not like you can stop it with those blockers, memory blockers, but you can also play more aggressive and win the game. So those are the
things. Normal Mirage bounces more stuff.
Yeah.
And like we are in BT19 or BT18/19 meta, 2.0 meta now, and Mirage plays Huankunmons as its level 5, the EX6 Huankunmon and then BT19 Huankunmon, and then the third level 4 that plays is usually Sikuemon from BT19 that just bounces level 3 from your opponent's field on play and when digivolving. And then there is inherit jamming once again because all blue stuff has jamming.
These days especially.
Yeah, and there is like at least 3 different versions, maybe 4 different versions of Mirage. There is the blue good stuff that plays like Mirage and Hexenblaumon and sometimes even the Ryugumons and stuff. And then it plays just Floodgates as its rookies plus the Gaomon. And
we can talk about those more in the second point.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But like about the unfairness and unfun that the card is, as we said, Bandai has designed the game so that we search, draw, and because we don't have tutors for the deck, we cannot go to our deck and search the specific card.
Yeah.
So we need to search them by looking at the top of our deck, adding cards from there, drawing cards with effects, and so on. But Mirage basically breaks this like the normal cycle of the game by saying if you do that, you actually lose the game.
Yeah, everything is more expensive. Like, you have a memory setter, nice, you play a 3-cost rookie that searches, you're like, okay, and then your opponent asks, how many cards in hand? You're like, 8, and then you lose your turn.
It's like one of those things when you're playing against Mirage, it's always, how many cards in hand?
Yeah.
And then you need to yourself keep count of like, okay, I have this many cards in hand. What are the break points? How many cards can I have in my hand? And what can they bounce to my hand? So what are the like memory break points? And that's so like, of course there are memory break points in this game and you need to think about those. But when the other side completely cheats on the memory system and like even how the game works, and we have so many cards that are just, you cannot choose to just not take the card.
Yeah, it breaks decks on your opponent's side because you're like, when digivolving, draw a card, or like when digivolving, ditch a card and draw a card, or draw to trash or anything like that.
And they're mandatory effects most of the time. Very little of these effects are like, you may do
or
something.
by doing, But like, as you said, most of the cards that draw you cards are like mandatory effects. And
then you just lose your turn if you just like, you need to go through your lines, and if your line just happens to say draw a card, you lose your turn, and then Mirage wins the game probably.
Or then you have to like just not use your effects, and that's just bad.
You need to go like to your level 5 in breeding and miss all your when digivolving effects or something like that. And even in that case, it could be like, okay, Mirage is on the board, they get to attack like 2 or 3 times and just win the game before you get even out of the racing area. And like,
and it's mad that they don't even play burst modes anymore.
Yeah, that is
all the time.
Like burst mode was absolute killer before, but now they're like, no, we might play like 1 or 2 burst modes, maybe, if we feel like it. So it's like, it's so, and
there is so few decks that like naturally play against Mirage's game plan. Like Demon Lords and Heavy Metal Dramon are 2 examples that.
Belphemon was one.
That have like a few cards in hand, but Mirage breaks those decks also because then, okay, it does not break Demon Lords. Demon Lords kinda enjoys when Mirage draws cards for it, but like Heavy Metal Dramon, for example, you are trying to have as like few cards in hand as you possibly can, and then Mirage is like, okay, now you draw 4 cards in my turn, and you're like,
no, none of my effects work.
Yeah, they won't get that much memory from your stuff, but like, or your cards, but they just say like, you don't do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So Demon Lords is probably the hardest matchup for Mirage.
One of the hardest, yeah. Of course, decks that have like ample removal can fight against Mirage because Mirage is not usually fast to rebuild. Yeah. So it's like, or maybe they don't even fight another Mirage to rebuild, and they always need to find, like, they need to get to Mirage and keep their turn to make those truly like great plays.
And Mirage is like hard counter to Ukkomon, BT16 Ukkomon. When you bring it up, you're like, okay, and I lose turn. Or like I remember in BT13 or 14 when we were playing in a local tournament, one of our friend was playing Alphamon, and they had the timer that when you bring out X antibody, you draw a card and gain memory. And I had 2 Mirages in board. Like, okay, draw card. Oh, it's my turn again.
Like, you cannot bring out any like Digimon from your raising at that point, and you just lose the turn, and then Mirage wins the game again.
Yeah.
So it's really
unfun.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that the card is unfair and unfun most of the time.
Yeah.
And then we have a second point. So the second is the longevity of the card and deck at this point. Yellow Hybrid got axed for being the only viable yellow deck, and we are still suffering from Mirage 1.5 years later. There are basically no other blue decks, and all blue cards are either Mirage support or not. It's time to reset blue and give decks and cards a chance to shine without looming shadow of a blue dog.
Yeah. Mirage was introduced in BT11.
Yeah.
It didn't get to see play until, like, real play until BT13. But BT13 is 7 main sets ago at this point in time.
It was July 2023.
Yeah. And we are at January 2025.
Yeah, so it's 1.5 years from when Mirage became like a real deck. And it was introduced even before that. But like BT13 is the time when it starts to pick up like steam. And it has been so funny to look at, like, every blue card just goes to Mirage.
Yeah,
no matter what the card does, Mirage is like, I can use that. And it's like, the first thing that any blue card you're looking for is like, can Mirage use this?
Yeah.
Does this go to Mirage? It doesn't matter what archetype is it. You look at the effects and be like, Mirage could use that.
Yeah, you're like, starting BT14, you're like, Tsudamon, Gumamon. Then BT15, Betamon. Give us jamming. It's kind of good when the Bukamon got restricted.
Yeah.
And of course, Bukamon from the BT14. Then BT16 came around, there was actual Mirage support this time.
Yeah, and then they realized, we can actually play Galaxy stuff randomly.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I guess. And now it has come to the point where every level 6 goes to Mirage. Like, Hexablaumon is actually a Mirage card.
Hexablaumon, Ryugumon, what's that Tsudamon Mega?
Vaikmon Ace?
Yeah, Vaikmon Ace. Metal Sidramon Ace could be played... Not Metal Sidramon, Giga Sidramon Ace could be played in there.
No, Metal Sidramon Ace. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Giga Sidramon also could be played in there. Yeah, and then, like, Galatmon X is played in Mirage in, like, the Galaxy Engine version in Japan. And probably in West also, because we just got BT or EX8, and like every effing blue card is just Mirage support. Imperial Dramon, Paladin mode ace, Fighter mode ace. I've seen both of those being played in Mirage.
It's like, if it's like hard, like something like Imperial Dramon support, like level 4 or something like that, then it doesn't go to Mirage.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, but Sequemon from BT19, like, it bounces level 3. Oh, and it has jamming. It's Mirage card.
Yeah, and it's like, it's so hard to evaluate blue cards at this point, because it's like...
We don't know if it's a good card or is it just good Mirage support.
It's like, we don't know if the blue card is good or if Mirage is just so good that it pushes all the blue cards that have even a little bit of synergy with the deck just up. So that's why I say we kind of need to reset blue, because we don't have... Do we actually have any other, like, true blue deck than
Not
Mirage?
like solid blue.
We have, like, Imperial Dramon is half blue.
Yeah, Magnamon is kinda blue. It's like, the Digimons are always blue, but like...
It's still like blue.
Yeah, it's like rainbow blue.
Yeah.
But Mirage is probably like only blue deck that does well in meta. Yeah. That is solely blue. Like, yeah, you have fishes, but do they do anything?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
At least not yet. But I'm not sure if we have even gotten, like... It just feels like blue is getting so little. Or like, there are not like... We haven't had like any other like blue archetypes except like Fish and Mirage in like so long, or that is what it feels like.
Hexamon is becoming a thing again, but it's more red this time.
Yeah. So, but it's still one good example of how every card is like Mirage support is the revealed BT20 like Seadramon X. It bottom decks a level 3, so it's immediately Mirage support.
Yeah.
Because
and the inherit is also okay.
Yeah, because it gets actually rid of all the floodgates without your opponent getting them back to the hand.
Yeah. Same with Mega Seadramon X, it bottom decks level 4. Like, and it has a really good inherit.
It has the same inherit as the Huankunmon they already play.
Yeah. So
the Huankunmon does have a relevant effect itself, so those are not like... They're not like immediate like upgrades or anything like that, but it just shows...
They are solid Mirage cards
it just shows how Mirage just absorbs every blue card, or that is how it seems to me most of the time. So.
And Mirage has not gotten that much support. Like, BT4, we got the first ever Mirage line, and Thomas. The BT4 Thomas, that is a really problematic card itself. Then in BT5 we got Black Gagamon and Black Mach Gagamon. Then in BT11 we got the problematic Mirage Gagamon and then the rest of the line. And Nicolas Petrov, that I totally forgot that was a thing because it gave jamming, but you don't need that card anymore. Then in BT13 and EX4. And then one card in BT16. Yeah. There is so few cards that actually like is dedicated support for Mirage, but we have the Infinity Homer Loop version that I piloted in our nationals. We have Pure Mirage if you want to play that still. We have the good blue good stuff where you play Hexablomons and Gabubons and everything good blue cards. Then we have Galaxy Mirage that plays the Galaxy engine and probably like Hexablomons and Galantmon X's and stuff.
Yeah. So it's like Mirage itself spawns a lot of decks, but it's basically just because of Mirage Gagamon.
Yeah, and one thing that all of these decks has in like built in them is that they have 4 of Mirage Gagamons always. Why would you ever play less than that?
Yeah, and that is maybe one of those like also why we need to get rid of Mirage so we can see if these decks actually work without Mirage.
Yeah.
Like, are they true decks without this maybe one of the most broken cards in the whole game? Like, I don't understand why someone decided that this effect needs to be all turns. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I could like even give you the fact that it could be like even more powerful if it was only your turn or something, but don't give it all turns and make it so that I cannot play the game as it was supposed to be played. That is like one of my least favorite things to fight against is the fact that, okay, now I need to not play the game as it's supposed to be played.
Or one thing that could like make it a little less powerful, it would be like if for every 8 card in hand.
Yeah,
that would be fine.
Or like maybe every 6 cards in hand.
But
then it doesn't get to those ridiculous like free evolves so easily.
Or even every 5 cards in hand would be like doable because 10 cards is much. There's more cards than in 8 cards. Like 15 is a lot harder to get than 12.
Yeah. See, the difference it's like the difference in the early parts of the effect is not that high. But when you get to that, like, do I get 3 memory at 12 or 15 cards? 3 memory in 12 or 15 cards. Then it starts to become like, okay, now this actually makes it harder. And like 20 cards to get 4 memories already like absolutely bonkers.
Mirage would be like kind of balanced if the Evo cost was like 5 and then the memory gaining card cost or card count would be 5. Then it could be like 13 play cost 13,000 DP because jamming is a thing and it does not matter how big of a Digimon it is.
Yeah, but it's a one heck of a card, one heck of a deck. And like maybe someone would be like, well, Mirage hasn't done that well.
Mirage has dominated like metas since BT13.
And like maybe Mirage was not always the like absolute top dog of the metagame.
Shine Greymon was the best deck in BT13.
But Mirage was always at least in the like tier 1.5. Just behind every good deck, there was always Mirage ready to be played.
And I'd say that like in BT13 it was tier 1.5. Then in BT14 we got trainings.
Yeah.
And then Mirage became like tier 1, and it has not dropped from there since.
Mirage won the European finals, yes, and it didn't win the American finals, but there were 7 Mirage decks in the top 32.
Yeah.
And that was the most represented deck in the top 32 of that tournament.
What's that? 7 Great Demon Lords won that. And like, that has a solid Mirage matchup because you discard so much card in your hand.
Yeah. And of course you can beat Mirage. I'm not saying like you cannot beat Mirage, but
just play Takamikaze and go Bouncer too. If you won't let them play.
Yeah. But like, playing against Mirage is always like a hassle and a drag, and it's like nothing seems to stay on the field, whatever you do. And playing against Mirage with something like on deletion decks is like miserable as heck.
Yeah. Bounce is so
broken.
Yeah.
Also. And like Mirage itself doesn't bounce like it bounces only level 5s or lowers. Like that's enough most of the time. And then if you play like hard Mirage decks and you have those. Like,
and even if you don't play hard Mirage deck and you just play Gabumons.
Yeah. So then you just get to. And it's the fact that you can chain things like Zudomon Ace into Mirage and stuff like that, where you bounce, so you get to like bounce maybe 2-3 things a turn, and then your opponent goes from field to no field and maybe nothing in raising, and you have a Digimon that attacks like 3 times or something.
You can bring out your Gaomon, go to Sikuamon or BT or EX4 Gaomon, bounce level 3, go to Zudomon Ace, strip 2 sources, bounce level 6, if there is one to be bounced, or level 4 or 5, like
whatever you get.
And then you go to Mirage bounce level 5, and your opponent has drawn 3 cards just from these effects, with effects, and you gain X amounts of memory, probably lots, and then you go to burst mode and bounce whatever they have left on field.
Or as you say, you can basically go to Gabumon also if you want to. And that like bottom deck something.
Gabumon is 3 Evo cost.
For some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
But yeah, that's like, those are maybe the biggest like gripes. And maybe the fact that like, also like the fact that we have to talk about it, but the fact that it has been here so long already, and everyone's like fed up with the card because it always pops up and it's like always there, and every card goes to Mirage.
And one thing that like makes it clear that it has been here for a long time for myself is that in BT15 we had the Spring Break tournament. Spring Cup tournament. Vlog on the channel, by the way. And I won that with Mirage Gagamon. Then, just like a little over a month ago, we had our nationals in just before 2.0 releases. And I played that with Mirage Gagamon. And it came in third place.
Different Mirage Gagamon.
And it came in third place. And like...
Yeah. And there has been like... And Mirage has won like our weeklies since like forever. And
since BT13.
Yeah. So... It has been here long enough, and it's a good time as any to just get rid of it. Finally.
Yeah, and Bandai won't ban it. I know it, they won't ban it. But like, please even restrict it. It like, then you run it in every blue deck after that. But like...
Yeah, but at least you cannot like build consistent game plan or like around it.
Yeah, and like... there is the argument that, okay, you can recycle it with scrambles. But yeah, that's true.
But you need to find it first. Also.
Yeah, and you can't have multiples on field.
Yeah.
I have had multiple games where I have 4 Mirage Gagamon on field.
Yeah,
and that's ass.
And like even 2 Mirage Gagamons on the field is bad enough.
Yeah.
Like then you're like, okay, I draw a card, I lost 6 memory or something. And you're like, okay, I will never have a turn again.
Yeah.
Basically, I won't have a turn again, ever.
Then you are in a situation where you have a bigger stack with Hexablomon and you are like, okay, but this draws when it attacks. I don't know. Mirage should be restricted to 1. To be honest, it should be banned.
I would be fine with the ban.
Many other cards, Hidden Potential Discovered, and Ice Walls and Anubismons, and yeah, but that's a different topic for a different day.
Because maybe we will talk about how bad it feels to lose to a restricted card.
We maybe will have more of these like talking videos. There is no like camera video for this because I was too lazy and we are going to have a stream in an hour, so I have already built the setup, but that's beside the point. Maybe we will have more of these like just talking videos because Blockhouse Games, where we usually record our videos, is moving and they are closed till
start of February.
Yeah, so there's 2 weeks that we can't record in there, so there probably will be these kind of videos more.
Or otherwise different kind of content.
Yeah, but yeah. That's the thing. There will be gameplay also. Yeah, I think.
Don't worry. Maybe we get something there.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe this was the rant.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you're still here.
Yeah, and I think there is no single people that really thinks Mirage should not be.
Yeah.
Restricted.
Maybe some people have that, like they have played Mirage so long and they are like Mirage.
But I'm one of those people.
But even they should be like should know the reason why we need to get rid of that card.
Shout out Oskari, who is our like dedicated Mirage player. He is the one guy who says that it should not be restricted. But I know he is joking. You can see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't remember, what was it like if Mirage gets restricted. He said he was going to build some other like unguarded deck or something. I don't remember what it was, but
can't remember either.
But yeah, thank you for listening and leave down comments below. What do you think about this topic? We want to hear other people who are adamantly defending the honor of Mirage Gagamon.
Let's have a like united bash about Mirage Gagamon in the comments. And like Bandai should just like, if they don't want to kill the deck, they should release a new Mirage Gagamon that is not as powerful as the previous one.
Or it should have like different kind of focus.
Yeah.
So like restrict the old one or ban it all the way, and then release a Mirage with different kind of focus or different kind of game plan that still plays with the old support.
Yeah, it could have like game memory when digivolving, but just when digivolving. Please, Bandai, listen us. But yeah, let's not ramble anymore. This was the video today. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, consider becoming a channel member, check out Card Trader, and we will see you at the next video. Bye! Haluatko sä sanoa tuon?
Joo, mä voin. And that is why